Hello everyone, welcome to the postseason interview with the coach of the Everglade Enteis. We have the one and only Fus Force. First and foremost, my friend, how are you doing today? How is everything going for you, my man?
How's it going, everyone? Fus Force back again. I'm doing well, man. How are you?
I'm great. I'm doing pretty good today. So let's get right into this. First question up. What are your general thoughts about the season as a whole? Not necessarily specifically for your team, just just your general thoughts about the season, whether as a spectator, as a battler, and all that stuff. What are your thoughts about the season as a whole?
I think we got out of the trial phase, and it was like less of a okay, we're trying this out, and there's a bunch of bugs in it, and now we're on version 2.0, and it was really smooth. I don't think there was as many questions, if that makes sense, because everyone knew what to expect. So yeah. I thought it was just overall improvement, kind of like I don't know, kind of like how Toy Story 3 was like the end all be all. They didn't need a Toy Story 4, in my opinion. Yeah. Might get some rage in the comments for that, but I thought Toy Story 3 was the perfect ending. It was like the perfect sequel, third installment. You know what I mean? This was a great second installment to the Elite Battle League tradition, and I think we can have many more. I'm not saying we should not have any more. Don't twist my words, people.
So yeah, that's something I didn't even think about. You were one of the people from season 1 who returned for season 2. One of 5 people who returned, 5 coaches, I should say. So that's interesting that you bring up. In comparison, what do you feel most improved going from season 1 to season 2?
I'd say the general flow. Having more competitors seemed like a larger, scheduling kind of conflict. But I think that not having to do regular season battles again against people and just seeing people again in the playoffs was a little bit less clunky, if that makes sense. Having more people in split divisions made it a little bit more exciting because you didn't really know who you were going to be facing. I think that was a huge improvement. I also think that since we had like a trial season out there already, the people coming into it, the new folks, kind of knew what to expect, and there was, like I said, less questions and just more general assumptions of what to expect and what to go into. Even the draft was quicker. You know, the draft only took us like 3 days, and it took us I think it took us like almost a week in the first one, even with just 5 people, which is crazy. If I'm not mistaken, I think it might have been shorter than that, but it felt like a week.
From what I've heard, it was Derek's fault, and it took about a week. So, focusing a little bit more on you and your team, do you feel that you were? I know this was one of your goals, was to improve, to have a better record. So, do you feel like you were able to improve from your performance last season?
Oh, absolutely. I made fewer mistakes and I made more decisive plays. I felt like even the parts where I made things in my opponent's favor. I still think that the choices I made were a little bit more strong. I went into every battle at least with a game plan in mind. It didn't work all the time, but I had great thought processes and strategies in mind for every contestant I went up against. I didn't get to use them all, obviously, but and they didn't all play out like I wanted them to, but I at least had an idea, so I felt like overall it was better. My drafts were cohesive, they worked really well together. I would have liked to have done better in certain areas, and I'm pretty sure that's like a topic we're about to talk about, so I'll save that.
So speaking on, your draft, sort of the way you approach the season, would you have approached it any differently? Would you have approached the season differently in any way? For example, the way you drafted your Pokemon, who you might have drafted, or just kind of your general approach to your matches, like your preparation and all that?
I don't really think I would change any of my draft picks. I think I would go back and I would force myself to get out of the thought process of every Pokemon is going to have Energy Ball and going to predict the swap to Gastrodon, because I didn't use them again after that happened because it was like PTSD. So I didn't bring them again. I should have brought them again, and I should have used them in different ways. I don't think I would change any of my draft picks because I felt like the synergy was there. I didn't even use one of my builds of Weezing because I felt like it just when I second guessed myself towards the end, I was like, you know, I don't think this is gonna work. It kind of didn't play in my favor, but I had a completely like other build of Weezing that wasn't even seen on camera, which was crazy.
So you kind of touched on this a little bit. I mentioned your goals from the preseason, but do you feel that you lived up to the goals that you set for yourself before this season kicked off?
Yeah, I would say so. The only game that was a little bit iffy was my match with Jack. You know, still not the proudest achievement, but in the moment I used my decision-making skills to reason and rationale that was a game mechanic, and I took advantage of it. I think that's probably the only part that I would reevaluate if I was to, you know, like say, okay, that didn't really fit with my goal, if that made sense. But I would say that after getting into the positive column and then ending on a neutral differential, I would say that definitely reached my goal. I didn't want to be in the negatives. I was like, I want to be 0 or up, if that made sense. And I mean, in week 1, I like the first season, I was never first place in anything, and I was first place in the division for at least one week, you know. So it was definitely a huge improvement from last time. So yeah, I definitely think I hit my goal, at least in that respect, if that makes sense.
No, yeah, absolutely. You definitely, in certain ways, repeated what you did last season, in that you just had a better record this time around, but you put in a good performance every week, regardless of losses or whatever. You still put in a solid performance, just like last season. But this season you had a better record, so you made up for that. So you mentioned that you wouldn't have changed, going back to your team, you mentioned you wouldn't have changed any of your picks. You felt the synergy was good, which I agreed with. Your team was very solid all around. Were you able to adjust to your team quickly, or did it take some time before you fully understood your team?
I think I understood my team pretty well going into it, because the decisions that I was able to make in later parts of the season worked well, at least in my book. I was like, okay, this is like exactly what I was thinking would happen. And I was like, even like you said, win or loss, I didn't really, other than our epic climactic battle in the finals, or the semifinals, that was or what was that playoff week, what?
It's just round one.
Okay. I don't even remember at this point, because it's been so long. Other than you know, obviously that, I would say that, like, you know, I had a vision of what was to happen with my team, and I was like, okay, this might happen. I was like, this person could do this, and generally I would say about like maybe 75% of the time I was kind of like accurate with what I thought would happen with my team. And then I would say the other 25% was either mistakes or miscalculations, or just not seeing things coming, like setting up a Tornadus for a sweep or a Landorus, excuse me.
Yeah. So throughout the season, were there any sort of challenges you struggled with? And if so, were you able to sort them out?
I would probably say getting out of that defensive mindset was definitely tough, because you know, I came off of a really bulky team and kind of had a little bit of mix of bulk and attack power and some speed in there too. So it was kind of a interesting thought process that I had to adjust, that, okay, this Pokemon may be able to dish out that attack, but can it live that next hit, and can it keep going? You know what I mean? So, you know, balancing that out was kind of tough. Where I really saw that kind of come through was probably when I changed my play style and I played as aggressively as possible against Landon. I felt like that was probably like the biggest shift, like in the change of play style, if that makes sense, because I didn't run Protect on Groudon like I wanted to, and I played with mostly attacking moves and things that I thought would get me out of different situations, and it ended up paying off. We had some weird stuff with the whole losing connection and everything like that definitely threw off our groove, but like even still, there's a bunch of plays. I mean, he got to start off with his Raichu at full health. I got to start off with my Groudon at full health, and I had to reevaluate on the moment what my strategy would have been, but I still used my same thought process, but I just had a little bit more HP to work with, if that made sense.
Yeah. Were there any sort of issues that you maybe expected to run into with your team? Maybe some weaknesses you were thinking about, but they never really became a problem for you?
I would probably say other than my match with Derek, I would probably say water types. I was kind of afraid. That's why I drafted Gastrodon with Storm Drain, because I was like, I can use this to soak up the hits and stuff like that. But I was like, never really got that, if that made sense. People were mostly going after Groudon like in a non-water sense because they expected the Gastrodon to be there. And then Gastrodon getting taken out by that, it was Energy Ball, right? That right there was the biggest play. I was like, I didn't even consider a grass type move. I was like, okay, this is definitely a water type move coming. I was like, I can eat this, I can eat this. And then boom, I was like, oh crap, So I expected water, but hardly got it, if that made sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely, like looking at your team, I could definitely see why you have a water type. You had a water type fear.
Yeah.
But you're right. No, you're in all your matches. They've never really got exposed in that way,
ever.
At least.
I would probably say like 90% of the time, no water.
Yeah, I'd agree. Was there anything that throughout the season that you found maybe easier than you expected, or something that just came easy to you when it came to battling and like team prep and stuff like that?
Something that was kind of easy for me was the idea of keeping up those weather conditions and maintaining it and like seeing where I'm at, because there was times where I was like, okay, how many more turns of sunlight do I have for Venusaur? Can I Gigantamax right now, and will I have enough time for it to still be chlorophyll so it can go first and eat those hits later? And I was playing really strategically, checking my surroundings and checking my conditions. I was playing more methodically, so I don't know if that answers your question or not, but I feel like that was probably the aspect of battling that I really focused on this time, if that makes sense.
No, it answers the question, because you're using a new strategy. I'm assuming you haven't really used weather teams before.
Never.
So definitely that definitely answers the question in that maybe you might have struggled, but you instead it became easy to you. So yeah, that definitely answered the question, if that made sense. So you beat Jack, maybe not in the most, how do you word this? Amazing fashion. But you beat Jack.
I basically did the fourth quarter. We're running the clock, in a football game. We're up by 30. We're gonna run the clock.
So that's your final regular season match. You beat Jack. And what are your thoughts heading into the playoffs? You got to face me. I'm very terrifying, I know. But you're heading into the playoffs. What are the thoughts that are going through your head?
My thought process was to try to get as far as I could, if that makes sense. I was getting really, really busy with wedding planning and life and work and stuff like that. So I was trying to spend time keeping that spot, made sure I earned it, if that made sense. But I had not a lot of prep time, so going through my mind was a little bit of panic, because I was like, okay, I'm not thinking about this as much. And I was like, I know you're here, but I'm not just saying that because you're here. I was like, my opponent is smart, I said he's not going to do the same crap. So I didn't start with wheezing like I did with you, the first time. I started differently, and I tried to do things differently, but it didn't work. The RNG with that Will-O-Wisp was brutal. Hey, that's the game. That's the fun of it. You never know what's going to end up happening, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, you briefly touched on it there. Obviously, your final match of the season didn't exactly go how you might have wanted it to, but the caveat was that you didn't have a ton of prep time. You prepped literally right before our match, so
I forgot about it.
So again, it didn't exactly go the way you wanted, but it happens. Sometimes you go through those kind of matches, but unfortunately, you bow out in the round 1 of the playoffs. What were your like immediate thoughts after that match, your final match of the season?
I was like, okay, wow, what a way to go out with a bang. I was like, do I announce that I'm taking a hiatus yet, or is that going to seem like I'm being salty? You know, I was like, I was thinking about it for a while, going into like week 4, I think, that this is getting a little bit busy, so I needed to take a little bit of me time. So that's something, just a reminder to everyone that Everglade Enteis won't be returning for Season 3, but we are planning on coming back in the future. Undecided when just yet. It's kind of up in the air. It's a busy time in life, and going in that, I was like, you know, what a way to go out, though. I was like, do I announce that I'm not coming back yet, or do I wait a little longer? I was like, because this will sound salty.
I mean, we'd love to see you back because obviously you're a fantastic battler. So looking back on the season, I mean, we had a lot of hectic moments. We had a few upsets. We had just a lot of action going on. So when it comes to more so, not so much the like logistics of the league, but more so the matches and all that. What were your thoughts on, you know, being from a spectator's point of view? What were some of your thoughts on Season 2 as a whole?
I thought it was really, really cool. Like I said previously, I really liked the idea of the divisions. I didn't like it at first because I thought it was going to be too chaotic and too many Pokemon getting picked. And I was like, okay, everyone's just going to choose OU and RU and NU and stuff like that. And I was like, and then we're going to be stuck with the freaking like UU and stuff like. I was thinking about tiers and less about the Pokemon and how they can, you know, be utilized in a competitive set, because you can make anything good. I mean, like, what was it like? Didn't somebody win Worlds with a Pachirisu? You know what I mean? Like,
Pachirisu?
Yeah, it was back in like, wasn't that back in like 09 or something like that? Back when Diamond and Pearl were just out. Anyway, I don't know. Fact check me. I don't remember. I just know that happened. But I mean, I thought that the divisions after like really seeing what it was like, I thought that they were very different. I thought they were interesting. It kind of gave like a sense of, okay, wow, I wonder what's going to end up happening and who's going to end up playing against me, because I only had one guaranteed cross division match, and that was against Wolf. So you know, huge fan, by the way. You know, it was interesting because I was like, okay, back when Ace was still in the competition, I was like, okay, do I have to face off against him? Do I get to face off against Guanako? Do I get to face off against Stone? You know, what's going to end up happening? You know, it was all up in the air, and it was kind of like, okay, who's going to go next? Because when we had the original 6, we knew we were going to face everyone, you know, so it was a little bit guaranteed. I was like, okay, great. I get to face everyone, and then I get to... you know, I'll play him again in the playoffs. Big deal, you know. Yeah. But I was like, okay, this is like what's happening, you know. Like, it's like opening up a pack of Pokemon cards. You don't know if it's gonna be a hit or miss. You know?
Yeah.
I just thought that. I thought that was awesome.
Season. Go ahead.
No, I said I thought that was awesome. It was a great addition.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. This season was definitely a much bigger toss-up. Last season was already pretty difficult to predict, but this season was just absolutely impossible. It just upsets and just different sort of results that you weren't expecting, just left and right. A team with a worse matchup against another team would win the match, and it's just like, how? So yeah, this season was incredible in that sense, where you're right, it was completely random, and you definitely got those diamonds in there that were, you know, these fantastic matches that we got to witness, including the final, which was amazing. Did you watch the championship match? I'm assuming.
Yeah, I watched a good bit of it. I watched a good bit of it, but I had to like turn it off. I believe it was right before work. So, but I mean, I obviously know what happened and everything like that. But yeah, it was something crazy. I didn't get to catch it live though. That was kind of cool. I'm glad that they were premiered. Yeah, it was insane. I felt like you're right. Everything about this season was just toss-up. You didn't know what was going to end up happening, and then the advent of the power rankings was pretty cool. That I like that. You know, the idea of it made it feel kind of a little bit more legitimate. You know, having like kind of like the coaches poll. You know what I mean? For freaking college football. It's kind of neat.
Yeah, definitely. So the final question, at least regarding your team and your time in the EBL. If you could rate this season out of 10 for your team, what would you give yourself for your performance this season?
I would probably say an 8.5. I felt like it was a dramatic improvement from the first season. Even with the mistakes and even with the controversial calls by the coach, I would say that it was definitely an improvement all around. It was good all around. It's what I wanted to see. If I had to compare it to last season, I would give it, if I was saying, okay, this season, the first season, I would probably reevaluate and I'd give myself maybe a 4 out of 10. And then I would say this is definitely an 8.5 because it's a huge improvement. I felt like my approach was better. My understanding was a little bit better. Even where the mistakes were at and even where the sweep happened, I still felt like I tried to get myself out of that. There was thought process happening at every moment. I wasn't like, okay, I don't know what to do at this point. I was like, let me think about this. And I was like, I can try to figure a way out, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. So I just felt like it was overall better. Had I been in that situation in season 1, I would have not known what to do at all.
Yeah.
I would have been like, okay, well, that's it.
Yeah. and that experience definitely showed this season, because like you said, less mistakes, less those little errors, like not knowing Weavile was dark type.
Yeah.
So yeah, 8.5 purely mostly because of improvement, right? So
yeah,
essentially, yeah. And I agree.
I would say
I definitely agree. Yeah. Now with all that out the way, all the EBL stuff out the way, I'm gonna toss it over to you to plug all your good stuff and all your socials and the merch and the monetization and the members and all of that. So I'm gonna toss it over to you. Take it away.
Thanks, man. Guys, don't forget to head on down in the description, animated on the screen for you right now, all my social medias. Check it out. You can join the Team Divers Discord if you'd like to. We have a really cool community growing in there, growing every day. We have our merchandise options today. I'm rocking my Everglade Enteis for the last time this season. Check that out, y'all. Probably do a sale for the Everglade Enteis merch here soon, celebrating a good season and whatnot. Might do like a flash sale or something, but we got some really good options. Check it out. And then by the time of this recording, I'm only 3 hours away from being monetized, so I'm assuming I'm monetized by now. It's gonna be probably a week after we're done recording this, breaking the fourth wall. So join the Fus Force, y'all. Click that join button. Get those perks, get those in-stream benefits, and get your name plastered at the end of all my videos and on my end credit screen, and all these extra benefits and stuff like that are going to be really amazing, and support your boy's card addiction. I mean, his channel. I think that's about it. Yeah.
Awesome. And yeah, this dude deserves all your guys' support. Check out all his stuff, like he said. He is amazing. And become a member today. Woo! Yes, we're here. We finally did the grind, the Fus Force. And yeah, so there you have it, guys. I hope you all have a fantastic day. And we'll see you in January. Actually, no, sorry, the start of February. We actually recently changed that for the start of season 3 of the Elite Battle League. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye.